Hello and welcome to Healthy Living Extraordinary Channel. Well-being ideas in the football and education themed. In this video, I will provide ideas for each of the 5 health components that complete wellness. Put to an education football theme. And the 5 health components are, in no particular order: social, physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual. The 5 health components that complete wellness. Okay, now it's time for some social health ideas. Team sports is social health for everyone. Just to name a few, there's time management and there is long-lasting friendships, and tolerance is definitely learned. This is a good time when we're enjoying sports, whether on TV or in person, to bring out your spirit for your team. Go team! So, as you know, there's ups and downs in all team sports, so we must include everybody. Fans and participants need to have good sportsmanship. And to give positive, uplifting is feedback. And to be negative would be criticism. Let's talk a little bit about those two sides of what feedback and criticism that we all see in our own lives. And the social health part is more feedback than criticism. So here's some examples of the two compared side by side: criticism and feedback. Criticism is focused on weakness. Feedback builds up strength. Criticism focuses on what we don't want. Feedback is focused on what we do want. Criticism deflates. Feedback inspires. Criticism is focused on the past. Feedback is focused on the future. So there you have it, some social health. Ready to go to the game? How about some physical health? Let's get started with doing some football themed exercises. Alright, shake it out. And we're going to rotate our head back and forth, side to side. Not actually rotating, just side to side. And easy does it. Shrug your shoulders a little bit, get them all loosened up. Let's swing our arms for a little bit, get everything ready. Make sure we're good and ready to go. Alright, so now let's go side to side with our elbows bent. Side to side, swinging, getting our toes all warmed up, ready. Now we're going to rotate to the front. Both arms, obviously, as you can see. And 5 to the back. Okay, now we're going to do our leg, and we're going to do out, bent with a bent knee. So you go up and over, up and over. And then you go back, same thing. Like you're going over something, and then up and over, and then in reverse, back. And now forward, up and over. Now climb back and over. There we go. Good job, everyone. Out to the back. And to the front. And to the back. Remember to keep your balance. Here we go. And up. Now shake it out. And go into a jog. For low impact, we march. And for high impact, we jog. In 30 seconds. Now we're going to go add our arms up and out. Pull in our arms up and out to our side. And jumping jacks, low impact. And I forgot that I put the item that I'm looking for to leap over side to side is over here. Just a minute. I'm bringing it in. And we're going to leap over front and back. And my leaping skills aren't the best, but if yours are, by all means, you can put a rope down. You can put anything you like down a stick, or some scrap wood. I caught my foot. And then this is good for tightening everything up and strengthening your endurance. Now we're going to go sideways, side there, and then if this is difficult, you can always just step over and step back, like I leap, like I'm doing here, which my knees aren't the best, so I am going to do low impact, but you can continue to leap or jump from side to side. I'm kind of leaping to side. Now I'm going to do some running in place and step back and forward. So we go forward and then back and then forward and back, and alternating leg, which I use more. I'm trying my best to switch from the right first, then the left first. So I'm doing a little bit with the same leg, and there we go. I switched to my other leg. Now I'm going to do some push-ups, but not on the ground. I'm going to do what with wall push-ups. In my case, it's a post. So we got some push-ups. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10, 11. I did one extra. Now we're going to stretch our arms because we just worked our arm muscles. And let's hold for 10 seconds. And now your other arm. Okay, now we're going to put one arm behind touching your shoulder blade, and hold your elbow with your other hand. And that's 10 seconds, and then switch. And that's also for 10 seconds. So now we're going to try to keep our body straight. And we're doing a lunge. No, I meant a squat. So squatting. And breathe out and inhale up, and breathe out, down, and inhale up. And try to lean back on your heels when you go back to get that full impact of your core. Keep your back, as I was trying to explain in the beginning, showing straight back. And now we're going to do a stretch. And you touch, you can do kind of a lunge, your hands resting on one knee, and then the other hand goes down to the ground. And you hold for 10 seconds. And now the other side, and you lunge to the other side, and hold for 10 seconds. And we inhale up, and you point your foot up, and you touch your toe if you can, and you lean forward, straight back, straight body, and hold that. Get a nice stretch in your leg, and then after the 10 seconds, we'll switch legs. There you go. Sorry, I was out of focus. And everybody's doing a great job. We're gonna do a couple core exercises where you bring your knee and your elbow opposite elbow to each side. And everybody's doing great. Keep up the work. kind of turn to the side to show you how it looked better. My lighting's not that great. Sorry about that. And now you're going to stretch overhead, feet a little more than arm, shoulder width apart, and you're stretching your core now. And now do the other side, 10 seconds. Alright everybody, we're going to rotate our hips around approximately 10 times. Another way. Very good. Now let's do some over the head stretches. We're gonna go overhead, breathe up, but I'm trying to get in position where you can reach overhead, breathe in, and then you breathe out, and you're gonna touch your toes and hold for 10 seconds. Now we come up, nice and easy, and release. Good job, everybody. Pat yourself on the back. And here's a high five. Good job. All right, now we're ready for our mental health. We're going to work on our brain power a little bit, and that will get our brains nice and strong and thinking good. So are you ready for some football history? American football, that is. So the origin of this American football actually came from soccer, football as known internationally. So, and also the other is rugby that it originated from, and got their rules and ideas from 1869 to 1876. The rules were more leaned towards rugby. Then in 1905, because of the violence, American football nearly got abolished by President Theodore Roosevelt because of the violence. The changes were made, and this created the National Collegiate Athletic Association. Some fun facts we have about American football's huddle was created. There was 2 teams, and one of the teams was non-hearing or deaf. This is hearing, sorry. Deaf. I think I meant to say, I'm not sure if I said it incorrectly, so I'm going to try again. Deaf with an F. Not deaf. Like, so, it was a non-hearing team, and they could not hear, so they had to do signs to talk to one another. And they were a little worried about the teams being able to, and Paul Hubbard, when gathering together, he decided, let's tighten up our circle so they can't see our signs, just in case they figure out our plays. And that's where the huddle was invented. And now the huddle is known all over, internationally, all over the world, and on all sports, not just American football. Pretty cool stuff. So now we're gonna get into our mental health education version. So with charades, there's so many things that you can gain from doing charades. It's always better to have a group of 3 or more, and it's fun with 1 or 2, but it's even funner with a group. So when we're doing charades, you're acting out what the topic is, and then everybody tries to guess it without using words, so you get really creative. And then there's also another version that is Pictionary, which you also have to draw out what the topic is. And it's really fun to do and get your mind going with creativity. And within my research, I found this fun little game called Hot Seat. So this can be done, also charades and Pictionary, it can be with two people. But when you have a classroom, you can do it with a classroom. And with Hot Seat, the picture is behind them, and they're supposed to guess what it is that's behind them. And those wanting them to guess is trying to make the guesses by telling them what it could be. And there's like, if it's an apple, they say it's red, it grows on trees, it's delicious, and so on and so forth. And it's a really fun way to get involved and get your mind thinking without knowing what something is. There's also fun games, like board games, and that's headbands is one of many. There's actually a charades app, and there's also many versions of that. I'm using charades as one because there's variations of that, and it's kind of like the headbands game. So it's a takeoff from that, the apps, and they're really fun to do. And you basically put it on your head the same as you do a headband, and put the pictures there, and they have to tell you what they are. And there's also 21 questions if we're looking a free way to do it, is the 21 questions, and you actually think of whatever you're trying to express about or topic, and that's really super fun. And they're only questions that are yes and no answers, so you can't like ask if it's blue or black. It has to go through the thing. And so it's kind of a fun thing to do on a trip, maybe to a football game. Last but not least, I had a great growing up, and what I loved about it was the creativity with my parents, and to get us to not fight when we did a guessing game like what an animal was. We would act kind of our version of like charades. We would do animals, and since we were children, and to get us to not fight with one another, our father would call it whirlwind. And you had to stand. We even did it with our cousins when they would come to visit. And you stand up, and you'd have to turn around once and say whirlwind while you were turning, and then you can say your answer. If you did not do those two things prior to your answer, your answer was out. It was not allowed, and then you lost your turn, and then the person standing up could actually copy you if it was the right answer, and they can use that answer and win. Sometimes not always right, but it was one way to get us to use cooperation and tolerance of each other, and learn how not to yell out and scream or fight. We had to take our turn, and that was an also awesome thing. So that's also a social thing. So we got intellect and emotional, and we got a little bit combo going in our mental health. So for our emotional health, I did a science experiment with my family, and my husband was a photographer and the video photographer, and my son helped me with it. As you all know, if you don't know, you know a little bit more by hearing me. Geysers are made by a body water underneath the ground that is heated up by magma, lava, that has gone from the surface of the ground, of the earth, that is extremely hot, and they came from the center of the earth, and then there is a crack. We're gonna go like this, crack in the surface, and then it bursts out because of the pressure. So that explains why the soda experiment with the Mentos works, because the CTO, carbon monoxide, is always trying to get out. So when it forms enough pressure, which builds the bubbles, which is the CTO, carbon monoxide trying to get out, the Mentos causes a physical reaction, which causes, because it's placed into the soda, and usually it works really well with the other components, that is caffeine or diet, which makes the Mentos drop faster because there's no sugar to slow it down, the density. But it has a nucleating on the Mentos site. It's like little crisps and crevices that are really miniature, tiny, and microscopic, kind of non-visible as to the human eye, and it connects to these Mentos. The more you put in, the more explosion you get out of it, and rapidly. And you can use devices and things like that. But the fun part is it reacts so well that it can be pretty messy. But little hint for you: diet is less sticky, and it causes a bigger eruption. Cola substance has the tendency to have more than all the other ones, and you can experiment with that yourself, because that, my friend, is emotional health, and that's how we get joy in our life, doing things that bring up our health and make us happy.
Yo. Oh, baby.
They got it.
Yay!
Okay.
And that's mental or emotional health.
Yeah.
So now for our spiritual health. Our spiritual health is idea today is this poem that my father recited to me several times and reminded me to do throughout my entire life, and you will see why he used it often after I read it. The Race. It is a very inspiring poem and encouraging to not quit and keep going. And it's an unknown author, and in my researches I can only find a tribute to Dr. D.H. Groberg. So here we go. The Race. Whenever I started to hang my head in front of failure's face, my downward fall is broken by the memory of a race, a child's race, a children's race, young boys, young men. How I remember well, excitement, sure, but also fear. It wasn't hard to tell. They all lined up so full of hope. Each thought to win the race, or at least first place, or tie for first place, or if not that, at least take second place. Their parents watched from off the side, each cheering for their son, and each boy hoping to show his folks that he would be the one. The whistle blew and off they flew like chariots of fire. To win, to be the hero there, was each young boy's desire. One boy in particular, whose dad was in the crowd, was running in the lead and thought, my dad would be so proud. But as he speeded down the field and crossed a shallow dip, the little boy who thought he'd win lost his step and slipped. Trying hard to catch himself, his arms flew everywhere and missed the laughter of the crowd. He fell flat on his face. As he fell, his hope fell too. He couldn't win it now. Humiliated, he just wished he'd disappear somehow. But as he fell, his dad stood up and showed his anxious face, which to the boy so clearly said, get up and win that race. He quickly rose, no damage done, behind a bit, that's all. He ran with all his mind and might, and to make up for his fall, so anxious to restore himself, to catch up and to win. His mind went faster than his legs. He slipped and fell again. He wished that he had quit before with only one disgrace. I'm hopeless as a runner now. I shouldn't try to race. But through the laughing crowd, he searched and found his father's face with a steady look that said again, get up and win that race. So he jumped up to try again, 10 yards behind the last. If I'm to gain those yards, he thought, I got to run real fast. Exceeding everything he had, he regained 8, then 10. But trying hard to catch the lead, he slipped and fell again. Defeat. He lay there silently. A tear dropped from his eye. There's no sense of running anymore. 3 strikes, I'm out. Why try? I've lost, so what's the use? He thought. I'll live with my disgrace. But then he thought about his dad, who soon he'd have to face. Get up! An echo sounded low. You haven't lost at all. For all you have to do to win is rise each time you fall. Get up, the echo urged him on. Get up and take your place. You were not meant for failure here. Get up and win that race. So up he rose to run once more, refusing to forfeit. He resolved that he would win or lose, at least he wouldn't quit. So far behind the others now, he the most he'd ever seen. Still, he gave it all he had and run like he could win. 3 times he fallen, stumbling. 3 times he rose again, too far behind to hope to win. He still ran to the end. They cheered another boy who crossed the line and won first place. Head held high and proud and happy, no falling, no disgrace. But when the fallen youngster crossed the line in last place, the crowd gave him a greater cheer for finishing the race. And even though he came in last, with head bowed low, unproud, you would have thought he won the race to listen to the crowd. And to his dad, he sadly said, "I didn't do so well." "To me, you won," his father said. "You rose each time you fell. And now, when things seem dark and bleak and difficult to face, the memory of that little boy helps me in my own race. For all of life is like that race, with ups and downs and all. And all you have to do to win is rise each time you fall. And when depression and despair shout loudly in my face, another voice within me says, get up and win that race." So with that, I want to close with saying that our Heavenly Father loves us so much that He will shout and cheer for us and tell us, get up. Don't quit. I know in my own life that He has not let me quit, and He has continued to tell me to get up and win the race. And you too can do that as you go through life, through your struggles, and hopefully all you can hear that voice that says don't give up. And always remember that you are a child of God. So, in closing, I hope you all well, and remember, put God first, and He will guide you through what you have to need to do. Until next time, take care.